You know, sometimes in the NFL, chaos doesn't arrive with a warning. It doesn't send a polite email or circle a date on the calendar. It just crashes through the front door, sets the house on fire, and dares you to find an extinguisher. That's exactly what's happening right now in Cleveland. What we're witnessing with the Browns and Shedeur Sanders isn't just a quarterback development plan, no matter how desperately the coaching staff tries to spin it. No, this is a meltdown. A collision between a fan base that's starving for hope, a rookie who showed up with poise and promise, and a coaching staff that seems determined to smother that spark before it can catch fire. And here's the worst part, it didn't have to be this way. Shedeur Sanders walked into Cleveland ready to embrace the challenge. He wanted this city. He wanted to wear that jersey. And instead of building him up, the Browns are dismantling him piece by piece, then telling us all with a straight face that it's part of the plan. But let's be clear, this isn't a plan. This is sabotage dressed up as strategy. And the longer it drags on, the more obvious it becomes that Cleveland isn't just risking a bad season. They're risking their entire future. So let's get into it. Now, suddenly out of nowhere, we're supposed to believe this is all part of some long-term development plan. Really? That's the fairy tale being handed out now, that the internet is burning like wildfire, the fans are staging a full-blown rebellion, and every analyst in the country is ripping the Browns apart like it's a public inquisition. Kevin Stefanski steps up to the podium, clears his throat, and says, "Relax, this was always about developing Shedeur Sanders. Come on, don't insult our intelligence. Don't try to gaslight an entire city. Because what we're seeing is not development. What we're seeing is damage control. Sloppy, panic damage control. And the receipts? They're everywhere. Fans aren't buying the excuses. Former pros aren't buying the excuses. And Shedeur himself, by every account, sure as hell isn't buying the excuses. You don't develop a quarterback by putting him behind the flimsiest offensive line you can find. You don't call vanilla play designs, then yank him after 2 broken drives and 1 blindside demolition, so violent it looked like a highlight reel for the other team. That's not how you nurture talent. That's how you break it. Think about it. You don't strip a rookie of his red zone reps all week, then act shocked when he struggles inside the 20. You don't toss him scraps, scrap linemen, scrap schemes, scrap respect, while wrapping your aging veteran starter in bubble wrap like he's driving a preseason luxury car. That's not how you prepare the future. That's how you sabotage it. And here's the kicker. Everyone sees it. The pressure is boiling over. National voices like TJ Houshmandzadeh and Chad Ochocinco are torching Cleveland on live television. The locker room itself is leaking stories like a cracked water pipe. And in the middle of that chaos, what does Stefanski do? He swings the axe. Not 1, not 2, but 5 offensive linemen gone. Cut loose in one fell swoop. And we're supposed to believe that was accountability? No. That was scapegoating at its most transparent. Because let's be honest, linemen don't design the plays. Linemen don't call 3rd and long rollouts from their own end zone. Linemen don't dial up protections that leave Sanders staring down unblocked rushers snap after snap. That blueprint, that's Stefanski's. His fingerprints are all over this mess. But now he's scrambling to rewrite the story in real time. First it was about development. Then it was about rotation. Then it was supposedly part of a plan Shedeur himself understood. Really? Because if you listen to Sanders' camp, he absolutely did not understand. He walked into camp expecting fairness. Not favoritism, not a free ride. Just fairness. He wanted legitimate reps, a real evaluation, actual growth. Instead, he got tossed into the 3rd-string graveyard with linemen who couldn't block a stiff breeze and receivers who couldn't shake daylight. And that right there is how you poison a young quarterback's rhythm. That's how you corrode his confidence. That's how you sabotage his film. Because now the tape makes it look like he missed throws, but nobody sees the collapsing pocket. The stats show poor completion percentages, but they don't show the defender already in his face when the ball left his hand. The narrative becomes he's not ready instead of the truth. He wasn't given a real chance. That's where this shifts from bad coaching to outright career sabotage. Because quarterbacks don't develop in a vacuum. They need structure. They need vision. They need a coach who wants them to succeed. And right now, nobody, fans, media, even players, believes Kevin Stefanski wants that for Shedeur Sanders. And don't act like we haven't heard the whispers. Shedeur was an ownership pick. Stefanski never wanted him. The vibe in that quarterback room has been icy from day one. And when TJ Houshmandzadeh went on air and said there might be something personal brewing between Stefanski and Sanders, people didn't roll their eyes. They nodded. Because it fit. Explained the skipped reps the lack of protection. The way Stefanski talks about Shedeur like he's a science project instead of a young man fighting for a jersey. Now, with the dysfunction fully exposed, Stefanski is stumbling backwards through the fire, pretending this was always part of the script. Too late, coach. The trust is gone. The damage is done. You can't cover it with a press conference, and you can't cover it with a panic signing like Snoop Huntley the day after your rookie got obliterated behind a papier-mâché offensive line. That wasn't foresight. That was desperation. And what makes this sting even more is that Shedeur Sanders wanted Cleveland. He embraced the city. He saw potential in the roster, in the system, in the fan base. He came in ready to put his name on the map, wearing brown and orange. Not every blue-chip rookie says that proudly. He did. He saw a future here. And what did he get in return? A broken offensive line. A stale scheme. A coach who treated him like an afterthought. That's not just disappointing. That's betrayal. And you can feel it without even stepping into the locker room. Look at the body language. Listen to the interviews. Watch how carefully players pick their words when Sanders' name comes up. That's not unity. That's fear. Confident organizations rally around their rookies. They say he's the guy. We've got his back. They're vocal, they're unified, they're fired up. Right now, the Browns sound like a team walking on eggshells, waiting to see who gets thrown under the bus next. And Stefanski? He's doing what every embattled coach eventually does, pointing fingers everywhere, but at himself. First it was the offensive line. Then it was Sanders needing more seasoning. Then it was miscommunication. Then it was the front office. Then it was the media. Sir, please. This isn't about narratives. This is about mismanagement at the highest level. If your rookie doesn't look ready, that's on you. If your roster can't protect him, that's on you. If your fan base has lost faith before week 1, that's on you too. And this idea that cutting an entire offensive line group was some noble act of accountability? No, that was camouflage. And the whole league sees it. General managers see it. Owners see it. Quarterbacks see it. College prospects see it. And they're asking themselves, if this is what they did to Shedeur Sanders, what would they do to me? That's the damage Stefanski has caused. He hasn't just undercut a rookie. He's stained the Browns brand. For the first time in years, Cleveland had something authentic. A rookie quarterback with poise, with charisma, with real star potential. A player who could have energized the locker room, ignited the fan base, and restored belief to a city desperate for it. Instead of nurturing that spark, they smothered it under a pile of excuses and negligence. And now, with the national media circling like sharks, Stefanski is backpedaling, trying to spin this into some grand plan. Too late. The curtain's pulled back. The truth is out. And the cruelest paradox. None of this collapse was inevitable. It was avoidable. This wasn't fate. This was choice. And Cleveland chose wrong. If Shedeur Sanders had been given a fair shake, I'm talking real snaps behind a competent offensive line, inside a system designed to grow him, and he still struggled, fans would have accepted that. Analysts would have nodded and said, at least the process was sound. That's what development looks like. That's what accountability looks like. But that's not what happened. Not even close. What we witnessed instead was a head coach shielding one quarterback like it was made of glass, while throwing another, a rookie with everything to prove, straight into the teeth of a buzzsaw. And that's not development. That's not leadership. That's not even competition. That's sabotage. And let me make this clear, if Kevin Stefanski honestly believes one smooth-talking press conference and 5 disposable linemen are enough to rewrite this story, then he is completely delusional. Because this is no longer just about a quarterback controversy. No, this is about repairing trust. This is about fixing a fractured culture. This is about proving to a locker room that talent actually earns opportunity and isn't just tossed around as a hollow talking point to fill media soundbites. And here's the brutal truth. If this doesn't change, and fast, it won't just be Stefanski's job hanging in the balance. It'll be Shedeur Sanders' entire future in Cleveland. Think about that. Do you really believe Shedeur Sanders, with his talent, his potential, and the weight of expectations on his shoulders, is going to tie himself long-term to a system that betrayed him in year 1? Do you honestly think his camp isn't already looking around at other franchises, other coaches, other cities, where his development would be a priority, instead of being turned into some kind of political chess match? The clock is ticking. And if Stefanski is still calling plays by mid-season, don't be surprised if the only thing Shedeur Sanders is developing is a carefully calculated exit plan. So let's stop pretending. Let's be honest with ourselves. Did Stefanski cross the line with this setup? Should Shedeur Sanders demand a trade if nothing changes? And is there any chance this franchise rights the ship before another meltdown drags it beneath the waves yet again? Because what we're watching right now isn't just mismanagement. It's deliberate sabotage, dressed up as strategy. And the entire league saw it unfold in real time. If you thought the Browns quarterback saga had already hit rock bottom, think again. This isn't the ending, this is just the guitar solo before the collapse of the whole stage. And with Stefanski flailing like a drowning man, Cleveland might be on the brink of one of the most spectacular coaching downfalls this city has ever seen. And believe me, that's saying something. So let's rewind. Let's lay it out exactly how this all spiraled. Shedeur Sanders, the most promising rookie quarterback this organization has had in years, was thrown into the preseason like a crash test dummy. No legitimate protection. No creative play calling. No safety net. Just trial by fire, designed not to showcase his growth, but to expose his flaws. And the results? Ugly stat lines. Shots of him on the sidelines with bewildered body language. A narrative spun against him so fast it looked like a washing machine on max cycle. And then, just as fans and analysts started demanding answers, the Browns front office staged a purge. The very offensive line, responsible for protecting Shedeur Sanders? Gone. Wiped off the depth chart overnight, like they were practice squad filler, instead of professionals absorbing punishment from NFL-caliber edge rushers. But let's not kid ourselves, this wasn't accountability. This was optics. Stefanski and his staff were desperate to redirect the spotlight, to point the blame anywhere but at themselves. Instead of admitting they'd set Shedeur up to fail in a broken scheme, they scapegoated linemen. As if 5 pros all forgot how to block at the exact same time. It's absurd. It's insulting. It's like watching someone pour gasoline on a fire and then blame the smoke alarm for being too loud. And the deeper issue here isn't just bad football decisions. It's betrayal. Shedeur Sanders wasn't drafted to rot behind recycled veterans and dusty playbooks. He was drafted to be developed, to be nurtured, to be given authentic reps in a scheme tailored to usher in a new era. Instead, he's become the latest victim of a franchise that still has no clue how to manage talent unless it comes with a decade of mileage and a gray beard. And now that the storm has hit full force, Stefanski's spinning like a politician caught lying on a hot mic. Suddenly, he's all in on Sanders' future. Suddenly, he's got a plan. Suddenly, the same coach who couldn't even give Shedeur consistent red zone reps is throwing around buzzwords like progression, growth, and development windows. Buddy, stop. Just stop. The only windows anyone sees right now are the ones you're trying to crawl out of. Fans aren't buying it. Analysts aren't buying it. Former players aren't buying it. Nobody's buying this charade anymore. Because here's the reality, Cleveland has revolted. The backlash isn't confined to some disgruntled beat writer. It's national. Ex-players are chiming in. Coaches from other franchises are whispering. Entire Twitter spaces are running for hours with fans calling for your job. And you know what? They're not wrong, because Browns fans have been through everything. Draft busts, untimely injuries, doomed trades, clueless coaching, and they've stomached it all. But now they're watching the same nightmare all over again, except this time, it's different. This time, it's personal, because Shedeur Sanders represented hope. This kid had presence, composure, leadership. He carried himself like a veteran from day one. For a fan base scarred by decades of failure, Shedeur was the first spark of legitimate belief in years. And that's why this betrayal cuts so deep. Because instead of fueling that spark, Stefanski poured water all over it. And the whispers don't stop there. Rumors are swirling that Sanders wasn't Stefanski's choice. That ownership pushed the pick. That this entire disaster is less about football and more about ego. And if that's true, then this isn't just incompetence. This is sabotage. Plain and simple. Think about that. A head coach willing to torpedo his own rookie quarterback just to win a power struggle with the front office. That's not football. That's politics. And if there's any truth to it, it's grounds for immediate termination. Because you don't get to wage a personal war with your roster. You don't get to sacrifice a rookie's career arc just to make a point. You're not a king. You're a coach. And right now, you're failing at the one thing this city needs most: leadership. So where do we go from here? Well, there are only 3 paths left. Option 1. Stefanski keeps playing his PR game, hiding behind cliches like trust the process, while praying Joe Flacco can keep the offense respectable long enough for the media storm to die down. Spoiler alert, it won't. Option 2. He swallows his pride, does what should have been done months ago, and actually elevates Shedeur Sanders. Give him real reps, build offensive sets around his strengths. Stop treating him like a gadget experiment and start treating him like the franchise cornerstone he was drafted to be. Option 3. Ownership steps in. Jimmy Haslam makes the tough call, pulls the plug on Stefanski, and hands the reins to someone whose vision is rooted in winning, not ego management. And don't think that's impossible. Because when the headlines read, "Did the Browns sabotage their rookie QB?" Owners act. Heads roll. And they should. This isn't just a preseason blip. It's not some minor misstep. It's the story of the season because it exposes everything broken in Cleveland's DNA. Fear, favoritism, stubbornness, the refusal to evolve. And Shedeur Sanders? He's the canary in the coal mine. If this team doesn't course correct right now, then what's coming isn't just another wasted season. It's another wasted talent, another fractured locker room, another promising player walking out the door while fans are left to watch him thrive somewhere else and ask the same painful question: why does this always happen to us? So let's be real. Kevin Stefanski is coaching for his life. Not in November. Not after the bye week. Not eventually. Right now. Because the Shedeur Sanders fiasco didn't just spark a quarterback controversy, it tore the mask off this organization and exposed the rot underneath. Sure, Stefanski's still giving interviews. He's still scripting practices. Still sitting in meetings pretending nothing's wrong. But don't be fooled. Behind the scenes, this franchise is in full-blown panic mode. Insiders are whispering. Players are talking. Former Brown staffers are dropping cryptic anecdotes on podcasts, hinting that this isn't new behavior, that this is just the latest chapter in a long, ugly pattern. And now the entire NFL is watching. The clock's ticking, and Cleveland is running out of time. So what do you think? Did Kevin Stefanski sabotage Shedeur Sanders? Should Sanders demand a trade if nothing changes? And is there any chance, any at all, that this franchise salvages itself before another collapse leaves the fan base gutted all over again? Drop your thoughts in the comments. Hit that subscribe button if you want the real story, not the PR spin. Because here, we don't sugarcoat it. We expose it. And right now, Cleveland isn't just battling through another season. They're battling for their very identity.